Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zack, and today I am driving a 1999 Mazda MX5 Miata 10th Anniversary Edition. Up front is a 1.8 liter inline 4, and down below is a 6-speed manual transmission. Now, I am super excited to be driving this 10th Anniversary Miata because A, I haven't driven one before, B, they're super cool and unique, but C, it's always fun to be back in a Miata. I used to own a Miata, and so any chance that I get to get back behind the wheel of one of these is a very good day, and I'm excited to share this very special edition with you here today. But if you'd like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. And if you'd like to see all my videos weeks or sometimes months in advance, you can head on over to my Patreon for only $5 a month. But let's get back to what makes the 10th Anniversary Edition special. Well, this debuted in 1999, was only available in 1999 because the original Miata came out in 1989. So, as a part of the 10th Anniversary Edition, it got the sapphire blue mica paint. It got a blue top, however, the top on this car has been replaced with a black aftermarket top. It has blue suede inserts on the seats, badging on the body as well as on the floor mats, blue accents throughout the entire interior with a Nardi steering wheel and Nardi shift knob, high gloss 5-spoke wheels, unique gauge cluster and bezels. But then mechanically, it got a Torsen limited slip differential, Bilstein shocks with retuned suspension, a 6-speed manual transmission, and a strut tower brace. Also, when you bought the car new, it would come with a gift set that had a model car, a key ring, and 2 Seiko watches for him and her. This also came with all of the amenities of a high-trim Miata. So like power windows, fog lights, cruise control, things like that. And it was sold new for $27,325, which in today's money, as of the day of filming, is over $54,000 in modern money for a Miata. This was quite the expensive cat. But let's talk about the mechanicals with that 1.8 liter inline 4. Well, it's a dual cam 4-pot engine, and they are very, very reliable. Now, the NB generation of Miata ran until 2004, and in the year 2000, they actually started using VVT engines, which is variable valve timing. This is not that, but it's still very buzzy, very fun, exactly what you would expect in one out of a Miata. Now, like I said, paired to it is a 6-speed manual transmission. At the time, this was the only way to get the 6-speed in a Miata. Now, they did have the Mazda Speed Miata later on that did come with a 6-speed as well, but this was before that time. And you might be saying, oh, that's nice to have, a highway cruising gear. Well, you only drop about 200 or 300 RPM sitting on the highway with the 6-speed. The 6-speed, they really just added a gear between second gear and third gear to make the car a little bit more entertaining, a little bit more fun to drive, and you just shift your gears a little bit more. It gives you that sensation. Now, 0 to 60 was decreased by 0.2 seconds or something or other, but that's what the 6-speed was. It was meant to be more engaging. Last but not least, of course, the Miata is rear-wheel drive, and as I mentioned, all 10th anniversaries got the Torsen limited slip diff, which wasn't standard on all Miatas, but you could get it on a couple trims. How does it feel to drive the 10th anniversary Miata? It's wonderful. It's a Miata. The driving feel of this car is by far its biggest selling point and why it has been such a juggernaut in the segment for 3 to almost now 4 decades. It's just so good. It's very communicative when you're driving. You know what the car's doing. You know what it's going to do before it does it. It's not fast enough to really get you into any trouble. If you want to lay into it on the boulevard, you're probably still not going to get a speeding ticket, but in the twisties, in the corners is where these cars come alive, even on the stock suspension, which albeit is upgraded over the standard Miata. Even on stock suspension, you don't need coilovers. You don't need big fat tires. You just need a twisty road and a light lunch. and you will have an absolute blast. Visibility is okay. Ride quality isn't amazing, but it's a sports car. It shouldn't be amazing. And so it's really, truly exactly what I want. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have 5 gauges. Off to the left is my fuel. In the center is the tachometer, oil pressure, and speedometer. And off to the right is coolant temperature. On the steering wheel, we do get an airbag as well as that Nardi steering wheel with blue accents. Absolutely love that. And off to the left, we have a climate control vent, we have our fog light switch, cruise control, as well as our gauge dimmer switch. Moving on to the door, we have the latch to get in and out and a speaker, but that's it. And moving into the center, we have 2 climate control vents and the hazard switch. Of course, an aftermarket radio, any radio from 1999 isn't really going to keep up with modern tech, so most owners swap that out. And then we have our climate controls down below. Very simple, very basic down here. Temperature off to the left, fan speed in the center, where to send it off to the right, as well as we have our airbag on and off and our cigarette lighter, 2 things that you don't really see in cars anymore. Then we have the shifter for that 6-speed manual. Again, a Nardi shifter, blue shift boot for the 10th anniversary, ashtray, and our power window switches. Again, this was a pretty high spec of the Miata, so it got power windows. Then we do have a center console, and the owner has added cup holders behind me. They still fail the big freaking bottle test, but the Miata didn't have cup holders from the factory, so it fails anyway. So overall, fail, fail, fail. And then the seats. The seats are comfortable. They do have these blue suede inserts for the 10th anniversary. As I mentioned, they are black leather on the exteriors, and they're nice. As a bigger guy, I fit very well. The thing that's going to be the deciding factor for you if you fit in a Miata is how long your legs are. If you have a really tall torso, but short legs, you're going to fit in a Miata fine. But if you have long legs, they're going to get in the way of the steering wheel, and that's where you're going to run into trouble. So I fit fine. I'm 5'11", not a small guy. I'm about 265 right now. I fit in the Miata, so I think you will too. However, we don't have any back seats, thank God, but we do have a trunk, so let's look at that. All right, around the back of the 10th anniversary Mazda Miata. First of all, blue key. You also get this nice keychain, but blue key as well. Very, very cool to see. Right in here, pop it like that. And you do get a little trunk. Now, I took weekend trips in my Miata back in the day. I was able to fit, a duffel bag and some snacks back here without much issue. Is this a cross-country, 3-month on-the-road road trip vehicle? Of course not, but you can fit some good stuff in here. I have a friend who has a first-gen Miata. He's able to golf with it. He just has to put the driver in the passenger compartment, but he's able to do it. So very, very cool to see that. It's enough for what you need it to do. Would I want to use this to move in and out of a new apartment? No, but it's a sports car. What do you want? Now we gotta talk about the looks, and I love this sapphire blue mica. I think the color is great, and I just absolutely love these 5-spoke chrome wheels. I think they look absolutely killer, and I'm such a big fan right now of chrome wheels. I'm glad that they aren't black wheels, because then in pictures it starts to look like a hovercraft. I think gunmetal gray and satin black wheels are kind of so 2015. So it's nice actually seeing these nice chrome wheels, very, very late 90s, but very period correct, and I think that it really matches and makes the car look overall really good in its own way. Now, of course, I do wish that this had the blue original top. However, they go bad over the years, and so owners don't want to pay that premium for having another blue top put on. A new top for a Miata of this year is about $600 to $1,000. Trying to find a blue top, you're looking at $1,500 to $2,000. So a lot of people just opt for the off-the-shelf, non-name brand, and that's what we have here. With all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving a 10th anniversary Mazda MX5 Miata? Well, I love it. I was so excited to feature this. One of my closest friends actually owns one of these, but it's not in working order, so I've been wanting to film one forever and ever and ever, and was finally able to find one. Thank you to Andrew's help. This is number 3,148 out of the 7,500 made, and that is 7,500 made globally. They sold these in right-hand drive in other countries, so a lot less here in the States, so it's still a pretty rare bird. I think it's cool that Mazda does these anniversary cars. They did a 20th anniversary. I reviewed a 30th anniversary of the ND. Now in 2025, they put out the 35th anniversary. They always do a special color, interior package, wheels, things like that. And I think that's cool. I like that Mazda's sort of honoring their own heritage, because a lot of other companies don't really do that, and I'm happy to see that they are. The Miata is most certainly worthy of celebrating. This was one of the most important cars to come out of the 1900s. Because before the Miata, there weren't many great convertible sports cars. There were a lot of convertible sports cars, but not great ones, because they could never master the three things: reliability, affordability, and fun. Cavalier convertibles existed. They were affordable, and they were somewhat fun, but not very reliable. GM build quality wasn't that great. And then, of course, you had MGs and Triumphs and things like that of the 60s, 70s, and of course into the 80s, but they were not reliable at all. This was a reliable two-door sports car that kind of checked all of the boxes. This is a car that is the equivalent of peanut butter and jelly. It's simple enough that it can be recreated and used and abused, and it's good every single time. Now, of course, there are people that are going to prefer a New York strip steak over a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but you're gonna spend a lot more money on that. For the price, the Miata is just such a quality vehicle. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Andrew for letting me borrow his 10th anniversary Mazda Miata for today's video. He's absolutely wonderful, great guy to work with, so down to earth, and he is doing his best to not only keep this vehicle stock, but keep it maintained and sort of protect what this vehicle is, as opposed to every other stance kid that wants to lower it to the ground and make it undrivable. So my hat is off to you, Mr. Andrew. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.